What does it mean to get the backstory? It means asking the hard questions and getting to the heart of what matters about your mental, spiritual, financial, and physical well being. In my quest to find wholeness, wellness, and end the 40 years of obesity that ravaged my body, I found that it was my own stories that were keeping me trapped in processed food addiction. Once I started asking the right questions, those same stories led to brand new consciousness, mindfulness, and agency. Each month on Get the Backstory Live, we take on the tough questions so you can find the healing, hope, and transformation hidden in your story. Hello and welcome to Get the Backstory Live. I am your host, Michelle Pettis. It is so good to see you tonight. Thank you for joining us. It is Wednesday, March 20th. It is Women's History Month. And tonight, I have two fabulous, wonderful, inspiring, motivational women that you must meet. You must meet. But before I bring them on stage, if you are joining us for the first time, I just want to tell you a little bit about what we do on Get the Backstory Live and why this program even exists. The, on Get the Backstory Live, we ask the hard questions. You heard that in the intro. But the reality is our health is our wealth. And that's something for a long, long time I did not know and did not understand myself. For years, from the time I was 20 until the time that I was 60 years old, I struggled. I struggled with body weight issues. But I struggled with body image issues. My weight yo-yoed up and down. For over 40 years, I have gained and lost over 700 pounds. That's it, a seven and two zeros. And finally in 2018, I started to get on the right track. And as I started to get on the right track and uncover the truth about why I unconsciously ate too much of the wrong things, it became my mission to share it with others who are also seeking the truth, who are seeking answers, who are seeking transformation. And one of the things that I really discovered in this journey is that we need the support. We need the support and inspiration and motivation of others who are on this same journey. We learn from one another. We lift one another up. And sometimes you just never know what someone else is going to say that's going to make all the difference for you, right? That you can get, we can get nuggets from others who are traveling the same path. And that's why what I want to do on Get the Backstory Live is introduce you every month to people, to women, to men who have decided to reclaim their lives. Not just take their body back, but take their minds back. Because when you take your mind back, your body will follow. And so we're going to talk to people in different stages of their journey, right? Because we're always on journey. We're either at the beginning, right? We're in the middle, but the journey doesn't end until it ends. We're always in process. We always have an opportunity to learn. We always have an opportunity to grow. And it is so much more meaningful when we learn and grow and get nuggets, right? From people who have walk the walk. And tonight, you're going to meet two women who are doing just that. They are walking the walk and reclaiming their lives. So, first of all, I want to introduce you to Ruwaydah Amin. And I wanted you to hear Ruwaydah's story. We're going to call her Rue tonight. She struggled with her weight. When I was reading her bio, I felt like I was reading about myself because we're certainly sisters. She struggled with her weight for 20 years, and came to some understanding and some realizations. And I want to bring her on right now so she can share her story and introduce herself to you. Thank you, Ruth, so much for being on tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So please, I've got to ask you before we get to Deborah Ann, is just to introduce yourself to our viewers, to our listeners, and just give them a little bit of insight about who Ru Amin is.
Aw. Well, who Ru Amin is, I am a teacher by profession. I've been an educator in Baltimore City for 17 years. I'm currently teaching at the college, their GED program. So teaching is definitely my passion. However, within the past like 2 years, I've delved into my entertainment career. So I am an actress, a model, up and coming musician, poet, and I just do a whole lot. So yeah, I've just, and as you mentioned already, I've struggled with my weight through it all. And I feel like once I kind of got a hold of my weight loss journey, I got a hold of my life in a sense. And it was like my life just started to just change and blossom. And I really became who God always intended me to be.
Oh, I love that. I love the fact because I was going to ask you if you felt on any level that getting control of your weight
Mhm.
was impacted at all by the artist in you, or if the
Oh,
artist in you impacted your weight loss journey, and where you saw that intersectionality.
definitely. Great question. So, actually, I've been acting since I was like 6 years old. So I would do like school plays and things like that. And I always had that acting bug in me. People always said I was just always so dramatic for no reason and so emotional. Just showed a lot of different emotions all the time. So with that being said, I always was self-conscious about my body. I've struggled with, like I said, my weight since I was probably about 8 years old and up. So I didn't want to be on a camera. I knew that I had the skills to act, but who wanted to look at myself being overweight on a camera or, on stage and not really feeling confident in myself? So once I kind of got a hold of that, like within the past 2 years, that's when I really started to delve into my entertainment career and my other passion outside of teaching and just really being okay with the camera. Like I'm taking pictures all the time and posting pictures, and I hated body pictures. I hated it. And now I just post nothing but long length pictures of myself and just stop in front of every mirror. And I'm like, is that really me? So,
Oh man, I mean, all of that resonates with me. So it
oh,
does, because I mean, I was in the same boat, right? And I think about it. My career was in media and advertising for 40 years, and I
oh,
worked in radio stations, I worked in television stations, and all kinds of entertainers came through the station. Aretha Franklin, Stevie Wonder, all the Four Tops, Temptations, all those guys. I don't have a single picture with anybody, Rue.
that's so
And when I
sad.
look back on it, I realized it was because I felt ashamed of my body, right? And to think that all that was missed, I didn't
Oh,
have a full length mirror. I was afraid of the scale and the camera. Always here, take my picture from the neck up,
it's
right?
so scared
Right?
when
Yeah. So from here, or
right.
let me stand in the back. I'll stand.
Right.
I'll take the picture.
Yep.
So yeah, when
Mhm.
um when you finally are able to step into it and step into your body and feel pride about it and move some of the weight out of the way, it's like
Mhm.
things do change. Things change, and you blossom in a way you never thought possible.
For
So
sure.
yeah, I feel you so much on that. I feel you
Aw.
so much on that. And so now we're going to bring on our next guest, Deborah Ann Matthews. And I'm so excited to bring Deborah Ann on. Her story is so it is so inspirational to me. And she is an inspiration to so many. And I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then I'm going to tell you what I love about her story. Deborah Ann Matthews, come on, Missy, we want to see you, lady.
Hi y'all, how y'all doing?
Hey, hey, hey.
I'm sitting here listening to Rue talk, and you say you don't want anybody to see you. Honey, I am like, look at all of this. Take a picture, and look at it. Because at some
Yes.
point I realized that I got some really pretty toes. When I was a little kid, I said, "Oh, my toes are pretty. I probably need to lose some weight." But we're gonna take a picture anyway and talk about that in a minute. I'm here. I deserve to be here. Honestly, whether I truly believe that or not, you'll never know because I'm here. And my name is Deborah Ann Matthews. So stand back. We're gonna talk
Oh,
about that bit after a while. We're gonna talk
yes.
about it,
That,
but it's
thank,
okay.
thank you.
But it's
Thank,
okay. Yes,
I
it
love it.
is. Yes, it is. Yes, I have. There were jobs I didn't take. I was sharing Patrice, a big PR firm lady. She loved me, and I was like, I'm too fat to go to New York, but that's okay. I spent the summer in London. I was okay. You know, it was okay. I've done everything almost I wanted to do, and there was never an issue. And of course, now there is an issue. But after understanding how to get up, just physically get my big old body up at this bed, and beginning to go to exercise classes and go swimming and call on a trainer who is a special forces military person who's also special forces people can speak several languages. They can do so much that we'll never know. So when I asked Coach Storm, I said, can you help me? He said yes. And one day he literally had to help me stand up. Then he had to help me walk to my seat until one day I could stand up myself and walk around the room. So hey, and now my knees hurt. They're back. We got to rebuild it up. But what I learned watching him is that he's very calm and collected. And literally Sunday, I couldn't get up from church, the church pew. He had to come to church to get me up to reset my mind on how to do it. But when I get anxious, that's when I can't do it. But that's okay because for 19 months, I have exercised consistently 4 hours to 12 hours a week. And
Wow.
I remember when I would see people who lost all their weight in a year, 100, 200 pounds. And I'm like, I may not be all that I want to be, but I got 19 months for you.
yes, yeah. So, Deborah Ann, let me ask you this question. Um, when can you think of the moment, or can you think of what happened when you said to yourself, "I want to make a change"? Was there was there a specific moment, or was there a series of things, or what happened to get you to the place to say, I'm ready to live differently"?
When I was in the fifth grade, my mom made us watch Black History Month shows and write book reports. And that's when I learned about slavery. I knew my parents were from Mississippi, and I saw all of the challenges that Black people face. So now, since I didn't have any of those challenges in my little mind, I said, "Well, I think I can live my life. I can have whatever it is I don't have now. We didn't have much money, but I can get a job. I can go to college. I can participate in activities." And all of my life, from 11, doing Richard Simmons, exercising, I wanted to be thinner, but along the way, I still participated in pageants, swam, band, choir, travel, college, all of the stuff young people do, adults do. And all of my life, everywhere I've ever lived, I've always exercised. I went to Africa. When I was there, they just loved me, and I was only 310 pounds. Once I moved to Clarksville, one day I looked down at my legs. My knees were like this big, and I said to myself, "When did my knees get that big? How did they get that big?" So one thing, obese people are not very self-aware. So I'm keeping on living. I'm keeping on living, moving into my house, and I I used to exercise sitting on a ball. And then in 2019, I met a coach because back in those days, my dad or my brother would just coach me over the phone from Memphis, give me a tip on something to do, and I would just do it. But in 2019, I met a military veteran again who he saw my issues and said, "You're doing too much. Go home, clean your house. You can do physical therapy, but relax. Cook one meal, eat it, relax." I always could lose 19 pounds a month easy. So I couldn't lose more than 40. He got me to 65 pounds a month. So that was just listening to his advice relaxing, calming down. I love sashaying in Nashville. He would literally say, "Sashay your butt back to Clarksville and sit down." So that taught me adults have to rest. And then
Mm-hmm.
I had lost 65 pounds, traveled, did some traveling, and then my house burnt down and my knees got worse. So that was then COVID happened. My doctor, who was a specialist on, she was a doctor, a lady doctor, black lady, who was a specialist on obesity. So everything I'm experiencing, she understands. She tells me about the research. She tells me you have to quit your job today because you have something cognitive going on. And
Mm-hmm.
we would never have trusted anyone else to tell a black woman to quit her job because what
Right.
are we known for working?
Right.
But I
What do we know about
trusted
working? Yes. All right. So I want to come back to the job thing in just a second because I'm fascinated by that, and I've got a question about it. But I also want to ask you, Rue, what was your moment? What was your moment when you thought to yourself, I gotta do something different?
Yes, I was just sitting here like, I hope she asked me that question too. So my moment, I was sitting here thinking of my answer. My moment was definitely, it's kind of funny, kind of not, but so my highest weight was a little over 300. And one of my favorite shows to watch is my 600-pound life. And I would just watch it and watch it and watch it all the time. And then one day, like a light bulb went off that I was halfway to being on that show. And I was like, carry the one, like I'm halfway to my 600-pound life. So I was like, I'm about to be frying chicken in my bed soon. Like my family's gonna have to be taking care of me and lifting my rolls up. And so that was that light bulb moment for me. However, that was the moment, but I didn't start my journey until like 2 years after that moment. So it still took time for me to get mentally prepared after that moment happened. Another moment, I want to say early 20s, and I got on a roller coaster. I love roller coasters. I love that thrill. And I couldn't fit on the roller coaster. And they went to strap me in, and it was literally like about that much space, and they just couldn't. I'm sucking it in and just trying, because who wants to take that walk of shame that you can't fit on a roller coaster? And I was there with a bunch of people, and they were like, Rue, why are you not going? I was like, well, I forgot what excuse I gave, but I surely didn't say because I'm too fat. And that was another moment for me. And that was probably 10 years prior. So it was like so many different moments kind of led up to me just doing it, and stop making excuses and just, becoming the best version of myself that I can. And my journey started from just a walk. Like one day I was having a lot going on. It was the summer of 2022. A lot of things were happening to me personally. And I just said, I just need to clear my head. So I just went on a walk around my neighborhood. And that walk was only about 8 blocks, and I got tired and turned back around. Then the next day I was like, that walk felt good. Let me go on another one. And I went on another one. And that one I maybe went 10 blocks. Then kept adding, going blocks and blocks and blocks. And until I started to do miles a day. So now I do about maybe 6 miles a day, about 3 in the morning, 3 in the evening. Sometimes I might do 2, depending on how cold it is. And I just walked away my weight basically and just walked. And it's very therapeutic to just get out. I'm an earth sign. I'm a Virgo, so I love nature. And so, yeah, that kind of answered your question and then some, I feel like. So, yeah.
Yes, it does. What I'm so happy that you talked about walking, because that was a portal for me as well, right? And I started walking because I got really financially hit during the economic crisis in 2008, and I ended up losing my car and not having a car, but I still had to work, right? I still had to figure out how to get there, and I started walking, and but I was mad. I mean, I was mad in the morning. I was mad in the evening when I was walking, but I was losing weight, right? But I didn't know it until I went to try on some clothes, right? And I was like, oh my God, right? But I was still mad because I didn't understand that the pandemic came to give me a better life. And that had it not happened, I would have never started on the journey that I did. And so I love walking. You're right about it, clearing your mind, it's centering you, doing so much, and making us what, Deborah Ann, you said earlier, when you're caught in the weight thing, you're unaware of your body. What you said, something like obesity makes us numb, or you said something about us keeping not of we're not self-aware. And one of the things that I found with that walking, that it really helped with the self-awareness over time. But
Right.
the question that I want to ask you both, um, was about the job, and you brought it up, Deborah Ann, and I was thinking about it earlier today. When I think about my own, one of my, like, the moment for me was when I went to one moment for me was when I went to the doctor, and my doctor said, "It's your job. It is your job, and stress will kill you." And
Mm-hmm.
it was hard because I couldn't like pull together the fact that something I really enjoyed could be detrimental to me. And also, as Black women, just the notion of, how we perform, right? How we excel in our jobs and take pride in that, no matter what's going on with our bodies, right? And the thing that we love, the thing that we can do, is the thing that is it's ultimately bringing us down. And just that connection. So if I want to come back to you, Deborah Ann, because you kind of opened the door for this conversation, and I want you to kind of unpack that for us a little bit.
Okay, thank you. I'm the one in the office. Once I started leaving at lunchtime or before work, going to the Y or to the weight loss class right across the street from the job, everybody else started going on. Everybody else started to lose weight. Or once they put a work site right next to the new building, 4 or 5 people would join me to exercise. Um, Also, at one point I had my little briefcase, with wheels on it, and I would have to I was trying to hold on to it for me to walk, and then I would hold on to the wall. And one of the men said, "Can I help you to the car?" And I said, "Yes." And one of the customers, because I worked in the career center with Job Corps, one of the customers said, she brought me a cane. I said, "What's this?" She said, "Here, you need it." I don't know anybody on disability. All I know is people who work. I don't even know people who don't work unless they're senior citizens or babies. And that one year, I could not walk from my car into the office. And I said to my supervisor, I can't walk, period. Like, enough to get anywhere. I've got to order a walker. But prior to that, when we would go on trainings and conferences, and they would go outside of the resort and do mixers and things like that, where they're running in the yard, my supervisor would call me and say, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm inside watching y'all." Because there was no way I could walk there and participate and everything. And thank God she was compassionate towards me. Sometimes she would allow me to drive my own car instead of rent a car and go to the Job Corps centers. I didn't care if I just would have to pay for it myself. I didn't care about being reimbursed. Sometimes, if we had to ride together, they would come and pick me up and making sure the van was big enough for me to get in it. Or if we're driving somewhere, someone would say, "When you park, make sure you leave enough space for Deborah to get in and out." Um, Going to things that I thought were unnecessary, that didn't have any value to my real job, I'm not doing that because it's uncomfortable. It got uncomfortable to be able to walk. Speaking of walking, going to the bathroom, it was just uncomfortable. And it wasn't always the case. When I was on my highs, when I'm exercising and I'm losing weight and I'm moving and I'm doing things, that's great. But when I'm on those times when I'm not exercising and when I'm not moving and the weight isn't coming off, because now that I know, when you lose 5 pounds, it takes 20 pounds of pressure off of your knees.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I just want to elaborate to what I said before. Once I did a little bit of research, because we're educated, we know how to read an article, and I realized that, okay, this is my knees. And then I met other people who also were firemen and teachers and educators and ballerinas who also had knee issues. That's their job, but yet they got their life back.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, my blood test said that I had uric acid in my blood from eating shrimp, tuna, and turkey. Okay, we know all of those things are good weight loss diet foods, right? So I said, I'm going to live. I'm not
So,
going to die.
so Deborah, a quick question for you. And before I ask you this question, I want to thank you, Lisa, for your comment about walking, because you are right that when we walk, we can disconnect ourselves from the tech, and we can be alone with ourselves, right? And we can get some clarity, and we can get some vitamin D too. So that's a very good point. So Deborah, and the thing that I want to ask you is that how what do you do to stay motivated? And and I have two questions, right? I have two questions because you were talking about the things that the foods that are supposed to be good for us, and what conclusion did you come to about the things that we think that are supposed to be good for us?
For me, I don't work. I mean, I still do resumes, coaching, and trainings and all that from time to time, and I still do community service. However, if I don't get up and go somewhere, I won't get up out of the bed. And that's because it hurts. That's a natural, normal thing. I stood in the bed for 3 months because my knees hurt. To meet people who stayed in the bed for 6 years and 3 years, but also I'm an exerciser, I'm a mover, so every day I go to some physical fitness thing, and I love it. I'm not really a morning person, but I've gotten over that. I can get up in the morning. However, for my peace of mind, I realized, Deborah, you can get up in the morning. You don't have to get up at 4. You don't have to leave your house at 5:45. You can leave your house at 7. It's okay, because boundaries, obesity is an emotional issue. So all of these boundaries, all of these things are out of whack. We mentioned stress. My father was stressing me out. My mother was stressing me out. And in the Black community, we don't say nothing about mom and daddy. We can't do that. We can't do that. But let me just tell the truth. So when I was told I had to leave my job, that also meant I had to stand up in a productive, respectful manner to my parents, because
Mm-hmm.
I want to live.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to die. I would have been dead and they still would have been living on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what I do to stay motivated, my parents picked cotton. And let me tell you something. My parents picked cotton on the plantation of the Senate Majority Leader in Mississippi, who was Joe Biden's intern mentor. So for me, that's my answer. And my parents, they always say, "Girl, you didn't pick no cotton." I said, "Mama, you picked it, I picked it." Because that's very real to me. My
Mm-hmm.
granddaddy was born in 1878. I said, "Mama, why you didn't tell me my granddaddy was born in 1800s?" Slavery ended in 1865. What keeps me
Mm-hmm.
motivated is I can get up and go somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't even drive my car. I drive my car so little. I can get up. Somebody will come and pick me up every day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have what? I need $2.50 to go exercise.
Mm. Okay. All right. I love that story, and I want to ask you. Ru, um,
Mhm.
what what keeps you motivated?
So what keeps me motivated and what started my motivation would definitely be my son.
Answer both questions. Answer them both.
So just knowing that I want to be around for him, and I mentioned the roller coasters. Now, can y'all still hear me? Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
I think so. Okay.
We can hear
So
you.
I'm sorry, my computer was buzzing a little bit. So yeah, he was a baby when that happened. And my goal was, once my son was able to ride roller coasters, that I would get on a roller coaster with him. And that happened last year. And when I tell you the waterworks that came from my eyes, we got on our first roller coaster together. He's now 14. So it was a big roller coaster, and I was like, I can finally fit on a roller coaster with my son. So I would definitely say my son is my biggest motivation, as well as my family. Throughout the whole 2-year journey I've been on, they've all been motivating me. I've actually motivated them. So now I go on Sunday walks with my mother and Saturday walks with my mother and my brother. We go hiking, and they were like, you're just really motivating the whole family to just really get into their health and walk. And it just means so much for me to know that I'm motivating them while they're motivating me. And so yeah, I would definitely say that. And wanting to live a long, healthy life. I pretty much saw myself knocking on death's door in a sense. And so yeah, that would be the main thing.
So this motivation thing is a cycle, that is such a beautiful concept. You motivate me, I motivate you, we motivate each other, and that speaks to one of the things that I work with people in my coaching program is accountability, right? It's accountability and the buddy system, because oftentimes we'll keep our word to someone else, but we won't keep our word to ourselves. So we'll say to ourselves, I'm going to get up and I'm going to work out at 7 o'clock. But then when 6:55 comes, you want to hit the snooze button. But if you've told somebody, I'm going to meet you at 7 o'clock, you feel compelled to do it. So that practice, that habit, helps us as we support somebody else. We end up supporting ourselves as well. I'm coming back to
motivation.
Yeah.
My brother, I'm gonna do 25 push-ups and he's gonna do 50. I can't wait to be like, brother, I'm ready for these push-ups. Come on. I can't wait. Oh my goodness. Yes.
It's a family sport.
I'm from Memphis, and one day, even though I was big, me and my brother, we walked to the community center. All of his friends he grew up with, they exercised when P90X was out. So it was me and another girl, and we did all the exercise, and they were competing back there. So he remembers the Deborah who could keep up with them.
Yeah. Yes.
And so I that's one of my motivators. I can't wait. And then I told my brother, I'm like, brother, my coach is teaching me boxing. I'm gonna knock you out. He ain't gonna let me knock him out, of course. I can't wait to do my push-ups with him.
I love it. I love it.
I love it. So I want to go back to something else you said. Well, the other thing, before I go back to what you said before, I want to kind of bring this part of the conversation full circle about motivation. Is that I hear so many people say, I need to lose weight because, the doctor told me I need to lose weight, or I need to lose weight for my health. And whenever I hear that, I think nothing's going to happen, because the reason is so vague. And what's so beautiful about what you both have said is that your reason, your whys are so vivid, and they are emotional. I mean, they are vivid, and they are passionate, and they're both rooted in the fact that we want to live, right? That how we eat and how we move and how we incorporate the pillars of health into our life impacts how wealthy our lives are. I mean, it is so clear to me now. But sometimes when I think about when I started on my journey, y'all, I have to admit, it wasn't even a health journey for me. I just wanted to wear cuter clothes. Really, I just wanted to wear cuter clothes. But after I got past that, it became real clear to me that this was about saving my life and helping other people save their lives too. It was so much deeper than what I thought. And to be able to understand, when I was listening to you, Ru, to say, I have to make these choices, even though you didn't say this specifically about what I eat and how I move, because I want to be here for my son. So your decisions are about how you show up for him and your family, not even about the food. And that's something that's real core, is like the food is just a tool to give us an opportunity to live the life we want to live. We have to decide how we want to live, and then make our decisions on what we're going to eat and how we're going to move based on the kind of life that we want. And I hear that. I hear that so much in what you both are saying. I just do. And Deborah, and I want to go back to what you said about obesity being an emotional issue. And
I want to
I
say this.
yeah,
In my obesity, I've learned that people who are shaped like me, I'm small on the top and big on the bottom, are very flexible. There are so many good things about the human body, the human person. Yes, you are obese, but baby, you got value.
yes.
So I think that's the first thing and foremost. And what you want to do, you want to put on something cute. Look how cute I am right now. What you want to do? You want to wear a bathing suit? I got four of them. Pick one. What you want to do? You want to go somewhere? Baby, I got on that plane and went in my wheelchair. What
Hmm.
you want to do? Let's do it. So part of it is everything that we hear in society and even that we say to ourselves is really not even true. Because
Hmm.
guess what? Ain't nobody looking at you. They might look at your big old knees for a minute and one little kid go, I'm sorry you feel sick. Can I help you? Yes, baby, open the door for me. But what you're doing is you're living life that God gave you, and He don't want you to feel bad about yourself.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So we're talking about the food. Today we made homemade broccoli crust pizza.
Mm.
And what I noticed, two things. Eddie Fuse, who said he's not my prayer partner, but he showed me how God can deliver you from pain with just a prayer. And he told me that people who this was the moment. This right here is this is a moment. He said people who love you, they don't really love you because they bring you food that they know is not good for you and they know you're trying to watch your weight. As we're
Hmm.
cooking the pizzas, and you'll see it on my YouTube channel, my home care worker, I noticed that she literally put half a thing of that good cheese on top of this piece. So the piece is like this high. The pizza that I initially made is like this high. But it's okay because it's vegetables primarily. But I noticed that. Um, on the one hand, the food does not have a problem because my colleagues who are thin people who eat when they're hungry and stop when they're full, they will not eat one bite beyond full, even if it's their favorite food.
Right.
The Southern culture, I'm a black girl from Memphis, grew up in the Church of Christ. You're going to eat your food, you're going to eat your plate, you're going to eat whatever you get, and it's okay for you to cook and eat because in those days we mama cooked breakfast lunch and dinner. Fast food didn't come in until maybe middle school, I mean high school, middle school, but primarily we ate at home and you were free to eat because honestly our black women are eating our troubles away because we have problems on every hand, and it's a soothing thing. And then even people who give me bigger portions because they say I'm bigger, I need more to eat. So all of these things that are said, the food pyramid, the this and the that, and that, all of this stuff, we're trying to make sense of. And if you exercise and eat this and walk this many times and get on the scale, okay, that sounds good, but never, ever, ever until last year have we learned mindset. Have we learned listen to your own intuition? Have we learned stop speaking? Oh, I'm so fat. I gotta. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear your sad story. Nobody wants to hear that sad story. Change your story to something that's the greatest, most awesome thing you would want to have. Let's speak that because when you speak it, you're transforming into it
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
telling the truth. I lost 33 pounds just by eating. 6 weeks, I lost 33 pounds. And then when I start stressing and I'm eating popcorn every other day, like a big bag, I'm saying to YouTube, I am not doing well. I'm not doing well. I'm stressed out. I'm anxious. I'm not okay. That
Hmm.
is not okay for Black women to say. We
Hmm.
got to be okay. We got to keep it together, pull it together. You see me exercising. I got to drop this weight right now. No, I'm not okay. For 6 months, I wasn't okay.
Hmm.
My knee doctor told me last month, you got 2 months to pull it together. So what I do, I'm pulling it together.
So,
But the fact that I say I'm not okay is powerful, because I couldn't say I wasn't okay when I was being raped or being told that I was going to be raped. I
yes,
couldn't say, who was I going to tell it to?
yeah, yeah. That is, Deborah, and you bring up so many important points. So many important points. And one of them being this notion of having to be strong and having to be okay and not having the tools, right? The tools and the insight to deal with the issue, to deal with the pain, to deal with the discomfort, and then the food becomes something convenient to go to, something
Mhm.
easy to go to. And what happens with that, which is such a tragedy, is that the need goes unmet because all the food just covers it up, right? The food just gives us a temporary reprieve, and the thing that is the source of discomfort and pain goes it goes undealt with, and it just sits with us. It just stays with us, and it keeps us in this kind of this state of numbing pain. Sometimes numb, sometimes sharp, but we can't really identify. Not always, and because it often shows up in our stomach, we think it's hunger. We think it's hunger, and we think because it's in our stomach, that that's the way to solve it.
Yeah.
But the thing the thing that you say that resonates with me is that once we tell the truth about the situation, once we just kind of like lay it open and lay it bare, that's that's one of the first steps to healing it. And we as Black women, as you said, we're assaulted with so many microaggressions, macroaggressions, microaggressions. My finances, my car, my house, my job, my super worker, my supervisor, my super worker, my supervisor, my colleagues, my children, my mom, my family, right? My friends, managing and navigating all that. And when you're hit with more arrows than the average bear, then you find yourself going to this easy, convenient, pleasurable food to get to give you some pleasure because you don't have it in any other areas of your life. And so when we stop, you mentioned earlier in the conversation getting calm, right? When we get calm, when we walk, when we find a way to get in touch with ourselves and get connected to ourselves, and we're able to move some of this stuff out of the way, then we can get some clarity and start thinking of some solutions to some situations that don't involve the food. So that is really, really important. That is really important insight. I want to ask you, Rue, in your journey,
Mhm.
as you started to reclaim your life, were there some stories about how you managed food and what food meant to you that you had to change, that you had were there family situations and social situations that you had to deal with, that you had to shift in order to step into who
For
you are now?
sure. For sure. So I definitely piggyback off of everything that both of you all said. You definitely have to change your relationship with food. So was in abusive relationship, physically, mentally, emotionally, and I didn't realize how much they really took a toll on my mental health. And it wasn't, people always ask me, like, what's the secret, Rue? And I said, clear your mind. It wasn't until I've been in therapy for now 2.5 years. It wasn't until I went to therapy and started to really dig into childhood trauma and relationship trauma and things like that, that I really started to develop just myself and see, what I really needed and what I wanted. And when I tell you, the weight just started to literally fall off. The more layers of trauma that I shed, the more the weight just started to just fall off of my body. And I didn't realize how much my mental health affected it. And now, if I go back to when I got kicked off of the roller coaster, or when I was watching my 600-pound life, I wasn't mentally ready at those times. That's why I said one was 10 years ago, the other was 2 years ago, but my journey didn't start until 2022. And it's like, so at those moments, I was ready. I wanted to lose the weight, but mentally I wasn't there. And I'll tell anybody that asks me, what's the secret or what's the first step? Clearing your mind, and not saying that everyone went through trauma and everyone has things to deal with, but for the most part, weight gain and weight loss has a lot to do with trauma, things that you just hold on to. And I started to eat. When my relationships were going bad, I ate. I would eat that pizza at night. I would eat cookies and cake and things to just feed that void that I had, or, to kind of mask the pain of things that I was dealing with in my life. And that's been from an early age. Even as a kid, I would still just eat and eat. And so, yeah, it wasn't until, like I said, I think clearing your mind is definitely step one, however that looks for you, whether that's doing yoga, whether that's going to a park, going to a lake. I'm in Baltimore and we have Lake Rolling. That's one of my favorite lakes. It has like a waterfall, and I'll literally just stand at the waterfall for like 30 minutes straight and just pray or sing a song and just be one with nature and just clearing my mind, clearing my thoughts. If I have a stressful day at work, I'll go somewhere outside of just coming home and just dealing with that stress. Like, let me release it outside and not even bring it into my home.
Ooh, yes.
So, yeah.
Release it outside and don't even bring it into your house. Yes, that's powerful.
Exactly. I've had nights where I'll just sit in my car for an extra 10 minutes, not to bring anything into my house, and listen to music. Like, let me clear it all out and go in. So, yeah.
Oh, so, what you're saying, Rue, it reminds me of like in my training, one of the things that I teach people is I say, eat before you eat. And that is that eat stands for, it's parallel things. It's evaluate what you're going to eat, right? Eat for evaluate. Ask, why am I eating this? And then think about it. EAT, think about it.
Okay.
And E can also stand for something else, which is what you just described to me, is that this process that we go through to change where we are to where we want to go, this journey requires us also to eat. And I call that energy, attention, and time. Energy, attention, and time. And just what you said was so beautiful about, I don't even take it into my house, that I sit in my car. And that's energy, that's attention and time, but it's 10 minutes that can make a world of difference, just because you're resetting yourself and you're centering yourself and you're giving yourself time to pour into yourself all that the world has pulled out of you during the day, right? And that's the thing for so many of us, is that we don't take the time, and we don't know that we can find the energy to pour back into ourselves in a way that supports us, in a way that's loving, right? In a way that's self-supporting, in a way that builds our self-worth and our self-esteem, that's not the food. Because the food, the self-care, that's what you just talked about. That's sitting in the car and just relaxing and breathing and think about it and releasing all that. That's self-care right there. And to take it to another level, to add another step, is that when we're in these stressful jobs, right? It's taking those same 10 minutes before we go into the job to prepare for what we know is going to come. Because so many times, as you both mentioned, when we're on this journey and we have family members and we have friends, for the most part, we know them. We know what they're going to say, right? We kind of got a sense of what their attitude is about certain things, whether it's positive or negative, whether it's going to be supportive or not. And especially in those situations when we know things, when they aren't going to be supportive, what we can do to eliminate some of the stress of that dynamic is to prepare ahead of time for how we're going to deal with it, and prepare ahead of time and how we're going to deal with it in a loving way that supports them and supports us as well. so that we don't have the anxiety of stress of that situation, because once we put it in our mind, once we put it in our brain, our minds go to work to help us create that situation. So we can say, "No, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna have a peaceful day. I'm gonna have peaceful interactions with whoever the person is," right? Right. It's all Deborah Ann, as you say, it's all going to be okay. Right.
It really
I'm
is.
not going to be stressed out, nor am I going to let them stress me out. We've set our intention. And sometimes that's all we have to do is just set our intention up front for the outcome that we want. And so I love that. I love that so much. We are, man, this conversation, guys, we don't have very much time left. We
I
don't
was
have
looking at the time like, we only have a few more minutes. This is
it
good.
is, it
Can
is
I say
going by.
something?
Yes,
Okay,
Deborah,
it's
sure.
all good and well to be in ourselves. It's all good and well to believe in yourself. It's all good and well to be peaceful and get your center, but you've got to go learn something different. You've
Yes.
got to
Mm,
take some
that's
classes.
important.
Look at that person who walking
Definitely.
in that tree on YouTube and showing you how to look in your front yard and get a herb. You've got to go learn how to twist this way right here. You got to move. Go learn how to do some ballerina or something. You've got to do something a little different, whether you do it at home or whether you go there, because you sit up here, beautiful as you can be, thinking your stuff don't stink. And the truth is, you need a bath. You got to learn some. You got to go learn some. But be gentle with yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Don't cut your risk, but go learn some. And once you learn, then you decide what it is going to work for you. A doctor can't tell you, a physical therapist can't tell you, a trainer can't tell you. You tell you. And the more you believe in your decision, fail or succeed, you believe in you.
Oh, oh, yeah. So, Deborah Ann, that was a perfect segue into something that I want to share about where we are in this space. For anybody that is struggling with this, is that,
Yes.
y'all, it is not your fault.
Yes.
If you don't get anything else from this conversation tonight, get this, that this is not your fault. We live in a toxic food environment that programs us and teaches us and trains us and wants us to eat for reasons that don't have anything to do with nutrition and nourishment. We live in
Yes.
a toxic food environment that wants us to eat for entertainment, that wants us to
Yes.
eat because of an activity, that wants us to eat out of pleasure, that wants us
Yes.
to eat because something smells good, because
Yes.
something tastes good, because something looks good. And I'm not saying that we can't eat for those reasons, but what I am saying is that we have to learn, as Deborah Ann says, that we have to learn to eat food that is safe. We have to
Yes.
learn to eat food that will not kill us. We have to
Yes.
learn to eat food that will not destroy our health. We have to learn to eat food that will help us stay alive, that will help us thrive, that will help us live. Because the fast food companies, the junk food companies, the snack food companies, they want us to eat for pleasure and convenience, and that will surely destroy our health if we don't learn, if we don't read, if we don't understand what's in the packages, if we don't question everything, because everything in this toxic food environment is designed for the producers and the manufacturers, not for us. And
Yes.
we have to be for us. We have to learn for ourselves. We have to read the packages. And if we don't know what it is, we got to ask ourselves the question, why would we put something in our body and we don't know what it is?
Yes.
Because everything counts. Every
Yes.
little bit does hurt, because
Yes.
every little bit over time builds up into something that at some point becomes unmanageable. And food
Yes.
management is a skill. It is something that we learn, just like Deborah Ann says. But here's the thing about skill, y'all. Here's the thing about skill. Here's the thing about mastery. Is it who just remember when you were learning how to ride a bicycle, right? Or you on a tricycle, right? And they had the wheels, and it was like easy. And then you wanted to ride a bike like the big kids. And they had the little training wheels in it. And even with the training wheels, you still couldn't stay up, right? Because you were you were learning, but you were out there on that bicycle every day, trying to figure it out, trying to get your balance right. And it was hard because sometimes you would fall, you didn't know how to brake, right? You run into stuff, you go too fast, you were kind of scared. All that stuff happens in this journey as we try to reclaim our body. It's scary sometimes. Am I right? Am I gonna make the right choice? And then I don't make the right choice, and then I relapse. Then I have to get back up on the bike. Then I have to try again. I'm right in the middle of the bike. Should I finish it? Because I've already bitten into it. Do I need to throw it away? Right? It's all of that. But the thing about this, and I just want to share this, is it just like riding a bike. Once you learn how to ride the bike, once you got mastery, then at some point you like ride, you weren't even holding on to the handlebars. You were just like sitting there under with your hands, right? And then you were standing up. Ride, right? And then you go to the top of the hill, and then you just like roll down the hill with your legs hanging out. But then it became fun because you had mastery. But in the beginning, when you were falling off and scraping your knee and you wanted somebody to run beside you because you were scared, that wasn't fun. But you had to go through all the tough part to get to the part where you could just like, look, no hands, right? Look, no hands. Or you put somebody on the back of the bike with you, or you put somebody on the little handlebars in the front, and all of y'all were riding. That's what happens when you get mastery. When you get mastery, it becomes fun. But in the beginning, when you're trying to incorporate working out, when you're trying to, start eating healthy, you're like, this don't even taste good. I don't even like this, right? That's not that. Where's the butter, right? It needs some more salt, right? This is not even sweet, right? You're fighting it. You're fighting it. But after your taste buds start to change, and after your body starts to change, and after you start to respond to it, then the colors all look green, the colors all look red and beautiful, and the freshness smells good to you. And you get to the point where you enjoy and you look forward to eating that which is good for you. You want to do it. You want to explore new recipes. You want to try new stuff that is going to serve and honor your body in a way that it has never been honored before, because you have attained mastery. You don't even have the desire for that stuff in the old days, because you understand that old stuff was killing you.
Yeah.
And because you have decided that you want to live like my two sisters tonight, like these two fabulous women that we're celebrating here on Women's History Month. You want to live, and you want to live your best life, and you want to live your fullest. And I am so grateful, and I am so thankful for you both for coming in tonight and sharing your story. And we have just a few minutes more, and I want you both to just let anybody who's watching or anybody who's listening know how they can get in touch with you, if you would like for them to get in touch with you. Deborah Ann.
I am Deborah Ann Matthews on all platforms. My weight loss and wellness group is on YouTube. I'm actually on YouTube and on Instagram or TikTok. I can't remember which one. It's called Lose Weight With Me. On TikTok, it's TOO. But if you put in Deborah Ann Matthews weight loss, I'll pop up and you'll see me. And you just come on and join it. I do lives all the time. I show you I'm exercising. I show you what I'm eating. I show you when I'm successful. And I show you when I fail. But all in all, we're going to love each other and love on each other all the more.
Oh, I love you. I love you. I love you for that. Thank you so much. And Ru, okay, Miss Actress Extraordinaire, tell us where we can find you. Tell us what you got coming up.
You can find, so actually coming up, I am working on being a weight loss coach. So I'm trying to like fix the program so that it'll be like conducive for any clients that I have. I'm kind of testing it out with family members and real close friends now, but I'm hoping to one day have a whole entire weight loss training program, as well as working on my weight loss book, just kind of going through my journey, my 20-year journey, and hopefully that will be out very soon as well. But where can you find me? You can find me at Ruway, so that's RUSWAY 1988, and that's on TikTok as well as on Instagram. So it's Ruway 1988, and that's where you can find me. And I put before and after pictures, and you'll also see some of my acting stuff as well on there. So,
yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that, Rue. Again, thank you so much, Rue. Thank you, Deborah Ann. And thank you for joining us tonight. Whether you're listening, whether you're watching, the fact that you took time to join and Get the Backstory Live, to pour into yourself, right? We celebrate you for being on this journey. We thank you for being here. My name is Michelle Pettis. And if you're looking to connect with me, you can email me directly at michelle@michellepettis.com. You can follow me on Facebook. You can join my I Am Brand New Now Facebook group. I do free emotional overeating coaching on Monday nights in that group. It's a free Zoom call. Would love to have you be a part of it. You can follow me at I Am Brand New Now on Facebook and on Instagram and on YouTube. We appreciate you. We love you. And we will see you next month on Get the Backstory Live. What does it mean to get the backstory? It means asking the hard questions and getting to the heart of what matters about your mental, spiritual, financial, and physical well-being. In my quest to find wholeness, wellness, and end the 40 years of obesity that ravaged my body, I found that it was my own stories that were keeping me trapped in processed food addiction. Once I started asking the right questions, those same stories led to brand new consciousness, mindfulness, and agency. Each month on Get the Backstory Live, we take on the tough questions so you can find the healing, hope, and transformation hidden in your story.